what do you say to your team after a game like that where it seemed like they did almost everything right and you still come out on the losing end?
Well, I didn't address them, so I didn't say anything. Um, they're good guys. Like, they worked really hard. Like, they know they worked really hard, and they did some really good things, and they know where they stand. You know, we have a lot of meetings, but we didn't meet after the game. We'll meet tomorrow.
Just come back with the same posture you had tonight after this game?
Yeah, there's not much to change. I mean, you know, like, you watch the game live, you'd be like, they did everything but score again. That's kind of the way it's been, 5-on-5, and, you know, obviously, we did a lot of nice things. We got pucks better to the net, I thought, than we did on Saturday. Thought we got more traffic there. You know, so I thought we did some good things.
The one thing that frustrating young coach seems to be second chances. You get a lot of good shots on goal, first shots, but they seem to be boxing you guys out of the second chances.
Yeah, they've got good size back there. You know, and we're big in some areas. We're not overly big in some areas, but they do a nice job of protecting their goalie, and at the same time, he does a nice job of putting pucks to areas where it's tough for us to get to. And so, you know, it's been difficult that way, for sure. Yeah, it's just, you know, just it's an internal issue. Like, all I can say is it's something we had to deal with, and we dealt with it. We have our standards, you know that. Yeah, he you know, he didn't play tonight. He sat as a game for his issues. Yeah, he'll play tomorrow.
A little bit of a brawl at the end of the game. Was that just to send a message? Or?
No, I just think that's just two big guys that are two heavyweights and have both played, you know, substantially or enough in the NHL to say that they know their place in the game. So it's what we call a friendly banter.
Calming hockey writers.
Yep.
Shots were great towards the net, and you seemed like you got a little bit more traffic in front of scrimmage, or at least around that area. You gotta keep that up tomorrow to try and get it past him. How do you solve that guy?
Well, we have to stay at it. I think the one thing that I liked about it, like if you ask him how do we get it by him, is we have to stay at it. Like, and I liked our focus tonight. Like, we didn't waver. We didn't try and do things that maybe we've done in the past. I liked our stick-to-itiveness as far as getting bodies to the crease and pucks to the net a lot. I thought we managed pucks down low a little bit better, and we were able to forecheck a little bit better, which eventually led to some shots. So we were happy with that. But the thing I was happy with, and how do we go back with that, is I liked our focus. I liked what we did offensively to put pucks there and get bodies there. But we didn't get rewarded. That's a tough thing. That's what really gets tough. And it's not so much, you know, when you're plugging away like that and you're not getting rewarded. The counterpunch to that is when you give up soft goals the other way. That's the counterpunch. That's the dagger. Like, when you work that hard and you're just as physical or more physical than them in some phases of the game, and you get a lot of shots and you put a lot of pressure on their end and you don't give up much on the other end, and then when you give it up, and if you give it up softly, those are the killers. You take a bunch of 6'8" basketball players, you make them 5'6". Like, that's a killer. It knocks you right down to your feet. Like, that's tough. And that's kind of been the series.
Sort of speaking to that, it seemed as though Danny Taylor didn't see a lot. It seemed like he was kind of deep in his net on that second goal. Did you see that at all? Did he seem like he needed to be woken up a little bit?
Yeah, those. The only thing I can say is I won't speak to so much Danny's posture tonight in the goal. I'll speak to the way it's been. People that have watched us all year, this has been a common problem at home for us. We've really kind of dominated 5-on-5 against some teams territorially. We don't oftentimes get rewarded at home for it, and we give up a lot of first chance goals. Like, we give up, like, we'll play a really good game and we'll give up some soft goals, and that's just been our MO at home. It hasn't been like one issue, and I thought that was, I wouldn't say there were soft goals tonight. I would just say the timeliness of the goals against are the critical ones. Like, when you push the other day in the second period as hard as we did, and like on their third shot of the period, and they haven't had it in their end the whole period, and they score that goal, like, and it goes 3-1, like, that's a killer. When you push that hard and you don't get rewarded, but then you give up a soft one, those are ones that bite you in, you know, a little bit in the lip. And that's the kind of way it went tonight again, too.
That being said, how do you overcome that? If that's your MO, you got to figure out a way to get out of that.
Well, we got to figure out a way to obviously get some goals. Like, that's the biggest thing. And there's two things that are happening there. One, it's a little bit of a confidence. You know, you win or you're undefeated in 13, and then you're kind of going along, and then all of a sudden you hit a little snag, and now the goals are tough to come by. But as they're tough to come by, like, you can't forget the opponent. Like, you got to give Scrivens a lot of credit. You got to give their team credit. Like, they were second overall for a reason. Like, there's no secret there. So we got to solve that. But at the same time, the timeliness of how we play on our end and what we give up is really, really critical. And I felt that has been the issue in games 2, 3, and 4. It's been the timeliness of the goals, and those have been a major issue in this series. Same in game 2, you know, like we're up winning 1-0, they're not getting anything, and they pop 2 at the end of the first. All of a sudden we're down 2, and then they pop 2 in a 2-minute span in the second. So it's the timeliness of the goals against that I'm just as disappointed in as it is the fact that we're not scoring. But I think, you know, we just got to go back at it tomorrow. It's just a one-day event. Like, we lost. We're 0-1 today. We got to go home 0-1. It's a one-day event. Like, it is what it is.
Just back to that final sequence, did you take any issue with Colton Orr instigating a fight in the final minute of a game that was already decided? No,
not at all. That's just hockey. It's players. And no issue with that at all. Like, in the end of the day, like, my only concern would be for anybody in our team is that we're classy. My teams will always be classy. And if we're not, then I'd be really disappointed, you know. So I wouldn't expect us to handle ourselves unclassy at all at any one point in time. Now, in Dez's situation, if he's cross-checked from behind like he was and he fell down, he gets up and fights, like, that's part of the game. But for us to run around and want to hit guys from behind late in the game and things like that, I have a zero tolerance with that. Like, you know, so I know it won't be a problem on our side. Not that it wasn't their side. That's not my point. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's not going to happen on our side. You know, like, we just have our standards and we have our structure, and we got to stay to that.
Looks like we're good. Thanks.
Yep, thanks.
Yep, you're welcome.